thing as well. Okay, so yesterday we started with the Linux basic commands, and we have seen few set of basic commands as well as the utility commands. Okay, so let's continue the same session. So I have covered till grep right yesterday, so now I need to work on with find, awk, sort and all. Okay, let's go to our machine. This is what our Linux machine. Let's see the sort command. What exactly a sort is? It's a typical English meaning. There's nothing or there sort nothing, we just sort in ascending order. Okay, so let's try to open a new file. Hi.txt is some file. Okay, and have something like ABC, apple, okay, Zergo, elephant, okay, banana, and something like 123, dollar something, okay, at the rate something, and xy, okay, ab. I'll tell you why I've written that kind of a content with all of them. So hi.txt, okay, so this is a kind of a, it's a simple text file, okay, in an unsorted way. So if you want to sort this file, a simple command sort space hi.txt, that will sort it in a ASCII order, or you can call it as like an alphabetical ascending order. Okay, so it is in ascending order. How I'm saying, you can see the first character of each and every line. Okay, so alphabets, first capital alphabets will come, a b c blah blah blah, then a, if the first character is same a, then you have to check the second character, so b will come first, so b showing first, then p, okay, apple one, then as usual banana, elephant. So and you can see some special numbers will be coming first, 1 2 3 and all. Okay, actually the sorting will happen based on the ASCII value, of each and every character. So on your keyboard you have 256 keys actually, so 0 to 256, this is the each and every character ASCII value actually. Okay, so the numbers we have 0 to 9, okay, we don't have a 10 and all. Okay, these ASCII values starts from around 41 to 49 something. Okay, and similarly small a to small z, okay, from 65 to 91 92, total 27 characters, right, and capital A to Z. So you look at it, so the ASCII order is 41 49, so these is having less value, so that's the reason you are what do you call, numbers are coming first, okay, then the alphabets. So that's how it sorts out. Okay, if you want you can just google it, what is ASCII value of each and every alphabet or characters and all. Okay, that's a sort. Now if you want to sort reverse order, you can sort in reverse order. Now same output, can you see this 1 2 3 came at the end. Okay, this is a descending order. That's it with the sort. There are multiple, some other options are there, you can just google it. Okay, or what you can say, like in Linux itself, if you wanted to know what are all the list of options available for each and every command, you can just run man sort command. Okay, man any command, that will help you with the entire help of that command. Help nothing but what are all the options available. So you can just come down, you can see all the options. I just told you only -r, which is a reverse sort. Okay, so but there are many are there. Okay, you can check it out. Where is the -r option? Somebody, yeah, who joined the call? Hi Mahendra.
It's my hand.
Yeah, thank you. Just keep yourself in mute.
Huh?
Keep yourself in mute. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you. So I don't. This man seems to be a little bit different, but actually we should be able to find the. Let's see some other command. Grep. Yeah. Can you see this option? -f, -p. Okay, -e. So yesterday we talked about invert one, -i, ignore case sense, -i. So something like this, you can find each and every command help with the help of the man command. And next, there is one more important command, is a find. Find is a command just like your Windows search. Okay, you go to your Windows and you search for your documents or blah 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 anything, right? You type something over here. Same thing with the Linux. You can search any of the file with the help of the find. Okay, so find dot nothing but where you want to search. It's a current directory. You can give any directory. I want to search it in this directory. Okay, and hyphen name nothing but what exactly you want to search, the pattern or the file name. Okay, I wanted to search hello.txt. Okay, see, double quotes is not mandatory. You can just give like hello.txt. Can you see this? Hello.txt is available over there in the source directory or immediate directory. Okay, or sometimes you may want like okay, It's not about hello.txt. I wanted to search all the txt files. Okay, so what you can do, give a hashtag. This is called a wildcard character. Okay, hashtag represents one or number of characters, and the entire pattern says like any type of character which is ending with a .txt. Okay, so you can find all the text files. So that is about the find. Okay, and somebody will ask you a question. Could you please print only the file names? Okay, I don't want the absolute path of it. Okay, so what you can do it, you can make use of a pipe operator, cut minus d. How they are separated? With slash. You can like match it like a slash, and hyphen f3. That's it. Okay, sorry, f3 will be like second one. Make it as f4. You'll get only the file names. Okay, so you can just like come up with a different one-liners. And somebody will ask you a question like total how many files are there? WC minus L. Total 5 files are there. Okay, so this is about the find command, but again find is having n number of options. I want you to explore them. Okay, so find dot hyphen name is the only one option I told you, but similarly there is something like file type. Okay, like sorry, type hyphen file, so nothing but it will search only the file types. Okay, and at the same time there is something called size. Okay, so you can find the files which are greater than 10 KB, less than 10 KB. That's like criteria. And at the same time m time, modified time. Okay, and c time, when the file was modified. So I want all the files which are modified from last 1 week. Okay, last 2 weeks. So if you provide 7, nothing but last 7 days, which is 1 week. Okay, if you provide 14, like last 2 weeks, right? So that is about the c time. And c min, I want it in the minutes. Okay, I wanted to see what all the files modified in last 10 minutes. You provide 10. Okay, and I want to see all the files which are modified from the last 60 minutes, something like that. Okay, so if you keep talk about one command, right, it's a huge vast subject actually. Okay, so let's not get into the in depth of it. Okay, just if somebody asks you a question how to find a file in Linux, you should able to remember the first command is a find. Okay, then it has n number of criteria. You just go to the Google. I mean, see, typically like everything nobody can remember. Okay, so most of the options, like the regularly used options, you might be remembering, but the rest of options, like they're like very rarely used. Okay, those things you can just go to the man page and you can get it. See, either Google, or you can say like man find. You can find a number of options. Man find. No manual interface. Okay, maybe find it is not there in this OS. So Linux man. Sorry, not man. Linux find command. You just search it in Google. You can get the n number of examples. How many ways you can make use of the find command. Okay. See this find. Okay, the different ways. Ignore the case sensitivity. Okay, invert match, combine, n number of criteria. So these are all you can practice it. Okay, I cannot talk one by one and all. So there are many other, I told you, right? M time, A time. Okay, all are there here. So just try to, and size as well. I wanted to know all the files which has a 50 MB size. Okay, so just like that, you have a number of options. Just go if when you find some time you want to explore about the find, you can just do that. That's about the find part. Okay, next awk. Awk is a very special command in Linux. So with the help of this, you can do the data formatting actually. Okay, so what exactly data formatting is? Now cat table. Yesterday you've seen this cat table, this table file, right? So with the help of the cut command, what you can do it with the delimiter, comma, hyphen f. Sorry, I can provide a table. You can fetch the different columns. Okay, so awk also works pretty much similar way. Only the thing is, okay, you can format the output data, but in cut you cannot format the output data. Look at this, f1 comma f2. Sorry, what happened? Not f2, 1 comma 2. Okay, so you will get the same format of what exactly the file you have it. Okay, 1 comma 2 comma 3, then you will get the entire file with the comma separated. Somebody asked a question, I wanted to print this this file in a format like instead of commas I wanted to have a arrow marks. Okay, so that you cannot do with the cut command. So the output formatting you cannot do it. So for that you can make use of awk command, and hyphen f nothing but field separator, just like in hyphen d. Okay, and in single quotes provide $1, which is nothing but first column table. Provide the final. So first column. Okay, and similarly if you provide the $2, second column, and similarly if you provide the $3, third column. You might be thinking how you are like formatting the data. It's just printing the data. So you can do that. So in double quotes, you can provide any kind of a hard code characters here, okay, between the columns, so that look at this how it is showing the output. You can write anything in between the columns. That's what the awk. And with the help of awk, right, you can find out total number of columns as well. So you look at this print nf. See, this is total number of columns in each row. Each row is having 333 columns, okay, and that is what the nf, number of fields. nr nothing but the line numbers, okay, each and every line, the first line, second line, third line, number of rows, okay, in each and every line, how many rows are there. So that's how it will present the data, okay. Now somebody asked a question like, would you please print the last column of the table, okay. When I say last column of the table, right, table file, what is the last column here? Third column, okay. So what you will do, you'll come over here, you type $3, okay. Now I'll give you a table which is having like some 200 change columns, okay, and I'll ask you to print the last column. So will you open the file like this and count all the columns, then get the number, then that number you try to present it here, like that's a kind of a tedious job, okay. Instead of that, what you can do it, there is nf. Nf is nothing but number of fields. So it is showing the length of each and every field, right? 333. So if you provide dollar in front of it, which is equivalent to $3, now you'll get the last column. Is it printing the last column? Okay. And somebody wants like last but not one column, nothing but the second column in our case. Okay. nf minus 1. Okay. So if you do this, you will get the second column. So these kind of like tricks and all you can play around with the nf, nr, like uh, getting a particular column and all. You can just make use of this command. Okay. So if it is straightforward first column, you can make use of cut. Okay. And data formatting with the like last but not one, this kind of a column requirement, you can make use of the awk. So that's how awk works, guys. And you can make use of awk in a kind of a one-liner as well. So let me give you one more example. ls minus l. Yeah. Who joined the call? Okay. Keep yourself in mute, guys. So look at the output. So this is what the output. Now somebody asked a question, would you please print uh, the third column or last column? Okay, this was last column. So how do you know the last column? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So you have to count it. So instead of counting it, right, okay, what I can do, ls minus l awk, okay, print $nf. Did you see this? I don't need to count actually, okay. So I can get the last column of my data, right? So you can fetch it from a file, or you can run it in a one-liner, so that the output of the first command is given to the input to this file, this command, so it can process it. So this is about all the utility commands, guys. Okay, let's move on to the another set of commands, which are the system commands. Okay, so system commands are something like I'll ask you a simple question. So would you please tell me what exactly the operating system you're using? Okay, what is the memory on your machine? What is the CPU on your machine? What is the virtual memory on your machine? Okay, what is the RAM? Okay, and which processor it is running? Okay, and which type of operating system, 32-bit or 64-bit? Okay, what is the disk size? Okay, how much is the free space? So what is your performance of your machine? So if you ask all these questions with Windows, right, you should be able to easily answer, because you know how to get the disk space, like go to the my computer and see which is a free, which is a occupied one. Okay, and if you want to know the your operating system details, you go to the properties and advanced settings. You can see all this stuff. Okay, you can see this is a 64-bit machine, and this is what the processor, blah 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 blah. Okay, and if you go to the task manager, and you can get your data like performance, what is the CPU usage, what is the memory usage. So you are all pretty much familiar with all this Windows data. Okay, Windows system related information. Okay, same thing. Let's try something around with the Linux as well. Okay, so there is a command called df, okay, which will show you the disk free space, du, which is the disk utilization one, top, which will show the performance one, free, which will show the memory. Okay, so let's see all this one by one. df will not give you the direct data. These metrics you don't understand it well, because these are in the bytes. Okay, df, if you provide -h, that will provide you proper data. So total size of this machine is 36 GB. Used is 1.7 GB. Available is 33 GB. So the usage percentage is only 5%. So what is the root drive? This is what the drive, like our C drive. Okay. So please, if anybody asks a question, what is a free disk space? Okay, you should tell them 33 GB. Always you have to look at for this slash one. Don't tell them 939 or 400 whatever. Okay, you might be thinking why it is showing all these things. See, these three lines are dedicated for the operating system. Okay, see, you cannot make use of any of the space from these three designated, so you will be using only this part. Okay, so you, in some operating system, the root will be shown at the bottom. Okay, don't think like the first line will be shown. Okay, so you have to find it out where is the slash available in these four lines. Okay, and that available section you have to provide. Okay, now, okay, to make my job my life easier, what I can do, I can write something like in a one liner. Okay, -2 or -3, okay, and tail -1, got it, and arc print 123 $3. That's it. So you can just take this command, okay, and give it to somebody. Guys, if you wanted to know what is the free space on your machine, run this command. You don't worry about a junk output of something like this. Okay, so they will be knowing this is what my disk space is. And you know what, all these commands you are aware of it. Only thing is use them intelligently. Okay, so to fetch your data, I'm not doing anything, I'm filtering it out. That's it. I have such a big output. Okay, I'm trying to fetch whatever is required for me. Okay, I want this. So to get that, what I'm supposed to do it, I can apply different commands. Okay, see, the same command I can write like this also, df minus h. Okay, first let me get print $3. Okay, I'll get this, right? Then I can do something like uh, head -3, tail -1. This is also correct. It's up to you how do you want to play around with the commands, but ultimately result is important. Okay, how you are, you can make use of n number of commands, right? So that's a df. And similarly, there is one more command, is a du. Okay, du and the file name. If you provide du and file name, that will give you what is the size of your file. 4 nothing but it's a 4 bytes space. Okay, so 4 kilobytes. So du minus sh, that will clearly give you kilobytes. Okay, now I don't want to know the one file one. I want to know the entire all the files. Provide the star, it will show you all the file size. Okay, so all are 4 KB, 4 KB ones. If it is MBs and GBs, you can see MBs and GBs. Okay, so that's about the DF and DU. And next, top will show you a performance. Like in a task manager, you have seen like what is the performance of this machine, right? CPU and all. So similarly, when you run the top, it will show you a live output of your Linux operating system. What exactly the performance? So you can see the load average on your machine. So it's a 0.00 nothing, but nothing is running. It's pretty much free. Okay, there's not many processors running actually. Okay, and if you want to know the memory, so can you see the memory, total memory? 90. This is in a kilobytes. Try to convert this into the megabytes. It is around 1900 megabytes something is. Okay, now used is like very less. Okay, and this is what the free. Okay, and this is a buffer one. So you might be confused a bit. Okay, how do you calculate this? It's really tough to know, right? So just come out from this window. There is one more command is there, free minus m. This will clearly give you the data. Total memory is 1877, which is equivalent to 1.8 GB, guys. Okay, 1800 MB, right? This is a 1.8 GB memory, and 900 MB used, and 900 MB is the free one. You try to add both of them, the total is this. Okay, so that is what the free one. And there is one more command is a uname. Okay, minus a. This will show you which type of operating system you're using. I'm using x86-64, nothing but mine is a 64-bit machine. Okay, it clearly says mine is a 64-bit machine, and it's a Linux one. Okay, and this is the kernel version and all, 2.6 blah blah blah, whatever is there. Okay, and uname, mine uname, just type uname, it will show you only the Linux one. Okay, these are few system related commands, and now let me show you some network commands. Okay, so when it comes to network commands, so somebody asked a question, would you please check whether a particular port is open on your machine or not? Okay, it's simple. A port is nothing but a socket connection from your machine to the external world to access your machine. Okay, so guys, it's a simple thing. What do you mean by port is, let me give you a diagrammatical way so that this concept is really important. It will be useful in the further sessions. So assume this is what your machine. Okay, and this is having some IP address 192.168.33.10. Okay, now you're running a software over here, a process. Okay, something like a process A. Okay. Now this process A can be exposed to the external world. Exposed to the external world, nothing but people from some other machines. Okay. Now this is another machine. Okay. So assume like now this is what my Windows desktop. Okay. Sorry, Windows laptop. This is what my Windows laptop. Okay. And this is what the Linux machine. Right. Now this process can be accessed from here. Okay. So how it can be accessed? So typically if you want to access any of the process from this machine to the external world, okay, external world nothing but apart from this machine, if somebody wants to access it, okay, it should open a port. Okay, a port. This is called a socket. I mean that will open with the help of a socket connection. Okay. So this and your system, your machine, your operating system will assign a number to it. Okay, like this is a 22 port. Okay, and this is a 23 port, something like this, some random number. Okay, so it will assign a number. This number we call as a port number. And you know what, you are trying to access the Linux from the Windows. This putty client is there, right? How do you think like you can access the Linux operating system with this putty software? Okay, because actually the Linux operating system running in somewhere in the memory. Okay, but with the help of this putty software you are trying to access it. Can you open a new session? This is what your putty software, right? How it is trying to connect to your IP address? Can you see the port number? As 22 port is opened there, that's the reason you are able to connect to the Linux machine. Okay, so if you want to cross check whether that port is opened or not, there is a command called netstart -nl. Okay, this command will show you all the open ports in this machine. Okay, it is really tough to understand, like go through all this output. What I can do it, okay, I can show you here. Can you see port number 22 is opened here? Okay, so similarly if I, okay, I can just get the output in a simple way, grep for 22. This is easier, right? Okay, instead of looking at such a big output. So port number 22 is open. So is port number 23 is open? No. 23, it's 123 guys. Don't look at the output properly. It's 123, not 23. Okay. So port number 23 is not open. Okay. So this next start is a command that will show you the list of open ports. Next start. Right. There is one more command is the telnet. Now what exactly the telnet will do it? You know. Okay. Now telnet is something like there is, assume like there is one more Linux machine is there. Okay. And here a port number 123 is open. Okay. Now within the machine I can run the netstart command. I can nl and I can came to know like whether the port is opened or not. Okay. But if you wanted to check whether the port is open or not on a remote machine, I mean to say, by sitting on this machine, I want to check whether 123 is opened on this machine or not. Assume like now this machine is a B machine, okay, and your machine is A machine. I am in A machine now, but I want to check whether port number 123 is there or not, opened or not. Okay, that you can check it out with the help of the telnet command. Telnet, okay. I think telnet is not there. Okay, guys, in few Linux operating system, telnet command will not be available by default. You have to install it. So to install any software, we will be using a command called yum. This is in the CentOS and RHL machine. Yum install and telnet. You just try to run this command, that will install it. Sudo nothing but any software needs to be installed with the root access. Okay, if you provide sudo, so that you have a root privileges. Okay, so this command is having a root privileges. Now telnet is available now. If you want to run, you can run this telnet. Yeah, the command is available now. Just quit. Now I want to check. Okay, I don't have any other Linux machine at the moment. I don't have any other Linux machine. Okay, so what I can do is telnet. What is my Windows one? Okay, let me check any of the port in my Windows. Let's start. In Windows also this command works, guys. NA. I'm not having any other port. I can do the telnet. I'm just checking. This is my Linux machine port. Okay, 80 port seems to be there, right? So what is my IP address of my Windows? IP config. Okay, this is what the IP address of my. Okay, what is the port we have seen? 80. Okay, sorry, spelling mistake. It's a telnet, not telenet. See this? It is port is open. That's the reason it is showing like the square braces. Now if you want to quit, just quit it like this. Now you might be thinking, how do you know whether how do you confirm whether the port is open or not? See, if you see this kind of a symbol, okay, then port is open. If I suppose like say 83, whether this let's check some random port 83. This is not open. See, can you see this? Connection refused. Okay, and you can cross check here. That port won't be open. You can check it out. The port number 83 won't be there here. Okay, only the open ports it can do establish a connection. I don't see anywhere 83. Can you see 83 anywhere? It's only 80. Okay, so that's what the telnet command, guys. You can check remote ports. Okay, now apart from that, SCP, SSH. Okay, so what do you mean by SCP and SSH is these are the secured commands to communicate between two Linux machines. Assume this is the Linux machine B, and this is the Linux machine A. Okay, and if you wanted to copy a file from here to here, you got my point. If you want to copy a file from here to here, we will be using a command called SCP. Okay, and that SCP we can't use it to the Windows. Remember, SCP command can't be used to Windows. It is only between the two Linux machines. Okay, and this SCP, see, remove the S, guys. What is CP? Copy. Okay, CP is within the machine. SCP is between the machine, with remote machine. So S is nothing but secured copy. And similarly, there is one more command is there, SSH. Okay, SSH is nothing but this is to copy and this is to run a command on remote machine. By sitting on this machine, I can run a command over here. Okay, that's what the SSH. So at this point of time, I cannot demonstrate SCP and SSH because I don't have another Linux machine. Okay, so I need to spin up another Linux machine. That takes some time, so I don't want to do it at the moment, but we'll do it in the further sessions because these two commands will be extensively using in the sessions. Okay, so we'll see the demo of these two commands later once we have another Linux machine. Right, so these are all about the commands which I'm supposed to cover as part of it, and the last section is the file permissions. So if I complete this, I'm pretty much done. So what do you mean by file permissions is, see, every file system have the file permission system, will be having a file permissions. Okay, what exactly a file permission is? There are three different types of permissions to every file and directory. Okay, one is a read, another is a write, another is a execute. Okay, these are the three different file permissions available in every operating system, not in the Linux, even in the Windows and all, everywhere. So read is represented as R, and write is represented as W, and execute is represented as X. Okay, now in a Linux, right, the file permissions are divided into three groups. Okay, so one is owner, or this is also called author. Okay, and other is group. Okay, like a group of people together, they create a group and assign the access. And others, apart from the owner, apart from the group, if anybody is coming to access the Linux machine, okay, and those will be considered as others. Okay, so every file or directory will be assigned the permissions for all these three set of people. Okay, so it will be something like 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what exactly these 3 digit represents is, one is a read permission, another is a write permission, and another is a execute permission. Okay, and same thing will be assigned to group and will be assigned to others as well. So these will be total 9 digits, guys. Okay, and there will be one more digit in the beginning, first digit. This will show you whether it's a file or a directory. Okay, now I'll show you how it looks like in a Linux machine. ls-l. Can you see this hello.txt, this file? These are the 9 digits actually, and the first digit is a hyphen. So what do you mean by hyphen is, if the first digit is hyphen, then we call it as a file. That's what I told you in the beginning of the session. Okay, and if the first digit is a D, okay, then we call it as a directory, right? So now next, so the rest of all are 9 digits. If you want, you can calculate it, guys. These are the 9 digits. Okay, now what exactly these 9 digits represents is, first 3 digit represents the author or owner, second 3 digit represents the group, third 3 digit represents the others. Okay. Now, if somebody asks a question, could you please tell me what permissions are there on hello to user or author? Okay. So you should immediately tell him he is having a read write access. That's it. No execute access. Hyphen nothing but no access. Okay. And what permissions are there for the group? Read write. What permissions are there for others? Read only. Okay. And if you come to the source directory, okay, if somebody asks a question, what permissions are there for group? It read write execute. Okay. What permissions are there for author? Okay, read write execute. What permissions are there for others? Read and execute. There is no write access. Okay, so this is how we define the file permissions for each and every file and directory. Okay, now the question here is, if you wanted to change the permission, now somebody asked a question, for hello.txt, I wanted to provide read, write and execute access to the author. How do you provide that? Okay, so file permissions can be provided or modified, or you can call it as a change with the help of a command called chmod. Okay, change mod. Now with this, right, you can change the file permissions. So provide. Okay, now I need to explain you the concept, like, how do you change it. So in Linux, right, it assigns some numerical digits to each and every file permission. For read it is 4, for write it is 2, for execute it is 1. Okay, guys, total how much? If you calculate it, 7. Okay, now if you try to provide something like this, 777 and your file.txt, which is nothing but 7 is the first, the first digit represents the group. So full permission, read, write, execute to the group, and again 7 nothing but, sorry, this is for the author. Okay, again 7 nothing but for group it is read, write, execute, and again 7 nothing but for others it is read, write, execute. But my question here is, I want to provide full permissions to the author, not for others. Okay, so for others I need to leave the permissions as it is. So to leave the permissions as it is, you need to see what permissions are existing there. Read and write. So what is the read and write value? 4 2, right? So you have to make it as a 6. 4 plus 2 6. Now what permissions are there for the others? Read only. So which is nothing but 4, right? Now you try to run this command over here, and now you run the command ls-l. Can you see read write text and the rest of permissions are as it is. Okay, we did not alter it. So this is how you can change the permissions. You can play around with this command actually. What will happen if I do the 7777? You can see that what will happen. 777, nothing but everybody is having all the permissions. Can you see this? All filled. Okay, now what happens, like, if I do 700, nothing but only the author will be having the full permission and rest of all no permissions. Okay, so this will show you, like, the digits. Now what exactly a 0 mean? No access. Okay, 1 mean execute access, it's already there. Okay, and 2 mean write access. Okay, and 3 mean there is no 3 here, but we should be able to calculate what do you mean by 3. It is 2 plus 1. What is it? Write and execute. Okay, next 4 mean 4 is already there, which is read. Now 6 mean, guys, what is 6? Read plus write. 4 plus 2. Okay, read and write. And 7, it's a full, all permissions. Okay, all permissions. So every digit from 0 to 7 is having a weightage in this command, and with the help of change mode you can change the file permissions. That is for the file. The same thing you can do for the directory as well. Okay, 777 to the source directory. I'm giving the full permissions to the source directory, chmod. Okay, so full permission source directory, but get into the source, the files which are there inside the source doesn't have the full permissions. The reason it is, the permissions are given only to the directory, not to the sub-content of the directory. Okay, or the files or contents of this directory. So if you wanted to apply the same permissions to the contents of the directory, then you have to provide an option called -r, which is nothing but recursively each and every file inside the directory will be having the permissions of 777. Okay, so get to the source, and you can see this, all the files are having the 777 permissions. Okay, that's what the permission stuff, guys. Any questions still here, all of you guys? Any queries with this command, what have we discussed till now? Kiran, Mahinder, Shashi, Vamshi?
Fine.
Okay, cool. So that's it, guys. I mean, these are all the things I want to discuss with Linux. Okay. Now, this knowledge will be transformed further. Okay, like all the softwares or whatever the stuff which you're doing it, we will be doing only in the Linux. So if you could able to practice all this stuff, right, it will be easy for you to work on the Linux in further sessions. Okay. So I'm moving into the our first topic, which is I'll start with the version controlling system, okay, which is a completely independent topic of our pipeline system. Okay, whatever I discussed in the demo, right? So we are continuous integration, build and deployments and all. So those will start it, but will come from the source code point. We'll start with the source code. Okay, so source code management. Okay, this is what the topic name. Okay, and we'll see some introduction about it and how we're going to implement this in the project. Okay, and what tools are available to do this. So we'll start with the source code management stuff first. So every build engineer or a DevOps engineer in most of the organizations, okay, they are given a special responsibility of taking care of the source code. Okay, what do you mean by source code? First of all, see, for a layman, beginner who don't know anything about the IT person and all, you should explain him what is source code. So typically, a source code is a code which is written by a developer of your applications. Okay, that's nothing else. Okay, it can be in any language, any programming language. It can be C sharp, Java, blah blah blah, anything. Okay, so that's what the source code. Okay, and that can be converted into the binaries by compiling and deploying it to the servers where you get the runtime environment. Okay, so initially at initial stage, okay, when a developer is preparing the code and all, okay, he cannot maintain the code on his own machine. Think about a project is started, there are 100 developers are there, everybody is writing their own source code. How do they manage between them? That's important thing. Okay, everybody can write the code and they can save it in their laptops or desktops. Okay, but when it comes to the project, right, that should be integrated and need to be managed well. Okay, and there won't be any kind of a conflicts, and we should be able to run that code. Okay, so to get into that a state, right, we need a proper management. Okay, see, writing a source code is not a big deal, people can do that, but management of the source code is really tough for them to manage between the developers. So that's where the source code management concept comes into the picture. Okay, the most important thing is this source code management is required when you have a multiple number of developers. Okay, multiple number, more than one developer. If there is only one developer for a project, right, I would probably say not required actually. Okay, if you have more than one developer, okay, typically any project of course will have more than one developer. Okay, so that's the first thing. And next thing is versioning. What do you mean by versioning is what happens, assume yourself, you prepared your resume today. Okay, you added some skills, and after 1 week you added some more skills, after 1 week you added few more, and after another week you modified some skills. Okay, and you added one more project, and you keep modified almost 8 times, guys, in 2 months. Okay, and you keep on saving the same file on your C drive, your home location. You didn't have any backup of your original file. Now after 2 months somebody comes and asks you, would you please provide me 2 months before your resume? 2 months before resume. Do you think you can provide the 2 months before resume in case like in an assumption you didn't took any backup of it? Okay, you keep overriding it. It's impossible to get that file, right? So what happens? This is with one file. Think about in your source code, your thousands of files. Okay, you keep modify every day. Okay, and after some time, there is a situation you may need to roll it back to 2 months before, or 1 month before, or one day before. Okay, it is really tough job for the developers to get back the previous, history of the code. Okay, so getting a history of the code is really big pain. Okay, that's the reason we need uh, versioning. Okay, versioning. So we need uh, getting a history is difficult, diff, difficult. So we need versioning. Okay, so we may need a versioning of our code to get the history of it. So what do you mean by versioning is every change if you make it, right, take a snapshot of it. What do you mean by snapshot is like taking a backup of it. Okay, so even taking a backup of a file is not that easy. Okay, think about your 1,000 files. You're changing for every 2 minutes. Okay, that is yourself. There are 1,000 developers are there, 1,000 files. Okay, every day 10 times they change. How many backups they have to take it? Like it grows like anything. Okay, so taking a backup is not an ideal solution. So you need to get something like a different way to avoid this kind of a problems, like taking a backup or getting history and all. Okay, so all these problems will be there in case if you just go for a normal development by sharing the code between us. Okay, so if you make use of a proper source code management tool, okay, if you make use of a proper source code management tool, which is also called SCM tool, okay, source code management tool, or you can call it software configuration management tool, that will solve the problem. Okay, this is especially for the management, managing the code. Okay, there is one more reason why we go for the source code management is what do you call multiple releases, or you can call it as a parallel releases. Okay, so what do you mean by parallel releases is, see, assume Apple is working on now iPhone 8. Okay, but they might be started a project for 2019 as well, right, which is iPhone 9 might be. Okay, so they have to work on two source code bases at a time. Maybe they might be planning for iPhone 10 as well. Okay, so they'll be having a proper long-term plan. So how the parallel release will go on, okay, on a single source code base. So it is really tough for the developers to maintain the three release code on a single location. They need to have a different paths. Okay, so that is also another reason why we go for the source code management stuff. Okay, managing the code. Okay, so SCM tool is especially for the managing the code. You might be thinking, what do we do here? Okay, especially from our point of view, what do we do? See, our main job is to set up the source code management in a project. Okay, and help the developers to make use of it. Okay, and we need to tell the best practices of how to utilize it. Okay, how to store the code. We need to help them how to store the code, how to pull the code, how to manage the code. Okay, and how to give the versioning, how do you manage this? So all this stuff we have to take care of it. That's what our job. It's a pretty simple job. It's not that tough task to manage it. It's really easy actually. Okay, so once you have the system is in place, right, managing the source code management tool is not such a big deal. Okay, so there are some tech tools available actually. See, managing the code is not you do it manually. Okay, there are some tools available. Okay, so it started with the CVS. There is one tool called concurrent version controlling system. Okay, CVS nothing but concurrent version controlling. So it started with that. So then after that we have many tools like distributed version controlling system, DVCS, like SVN, Git. Uh, what else are there? Bazaar. Uh, I heard one more. What is it? HG, or we can call it a Mercurial, Queer Case, TFS, blah blah blah. It's just such a big list. Okay, there are n number of tools available in the market. Okay, to manage your source code. But the most important and the popular tool was at this moment in the industry is the Git. Okay, so with the help of the Git, okay, so we should be able to manage our source code. But before the Git, right, guys, just a second. Give me a couple of minutes, guys. Let me restart the recording. Okay, so where are we? I'm talking about the version controlling system. Okay, source code management stuff. So Git is one of the most popular tool at the moment to manage the source code. But before going to the Git, we need to understand the conventional version controlling system, which is the SVN, which has been used by the most of the companies from past 20 years actually. Okay, 15 to 20 years, because that was the most popular tool earlier days, like almost 5-6 years before. Okay, so let's go to the SVN tool first. Okay, this tool is also called as a subversion. Okay, anything is fine, any name, subversion or SVN. And we'll try to we'll discuss about the subversion, and we'll try to host it on our one of the Linux machine, and we'll help our developers to make use of the subversion tool to store their code, manage their code, okay, and commit it to the source code system to keep their entire code base at one location, okay, and get the benefit of the getting a history and taking the backups. There are many advantages there, okay. All this stuff we'll see with respect to subversion, okay. Now let's see some history behind the subversion. So this is an open source one, okay. We can get this software for freely, and it's a platform independent, which is something like cross-platform independent. You can orchestrate on any of the operating system. Platform independent, okay. You can host either in a Windows or Linux, but we're gonna host it on Linux machine because most of the companies, they prefer to host these open source softwares on Linux, okay. And this is owned by the Apache people. Apache is open source community organization, and this is there on the development from 2000 year almost, okay. Before that, okay, before that, this is called as a CVS. See, actually, the SVN is developed on top of CVS. CVS is a pretty old one, okay. uh, let's try to start the let's try to understand the architecture first, okay. Then we'll proceed with the installation, okay. Now let me discuss the architecture. Let's go to the new diagram. Okay. So in an organization, you have n number of developers. These are all the people developers. Treat it like these are all developers. Okay. Now as a DevOps guy or a build engineer, okay, your job is to take one server. Okay. This can be any server, Linux or Windows. Okay. So let's choose a Linux server. So now your job is to set up this SVN software. Okay. Set up this SVN software over here so that other people, all these developers and all, they can store their code in the SVN or subversion. Okay. So they can push, they can pull the code. Okay. So once they're done with the developing the code, right, they can push the files to the server. Right. So it's a kind of a centralized system where it can store everybody's code. Okay. So to push that, they need to use some client-side softwares as well. Okay. But as your job, okay, by sitting in the company, your job is to assume this is what yours. Okay. Your job is to maintain and manage the server. Okay. Come on. Yes. Very bad and okay. Also, you need to help the developers. Okay. So help these guys. Okay. Now first thing is, forget about helping. Okay, we'll come there later. Let's try to set up this first. Okay. So as it is working kind of these are all the people clients, and this seems to be a server, right? So that's the reason this architecture we also called as a client server architecture. Okay. Two-tier architecture, two layers. Okay. This is a client and this is a server. And as to move any of the code from the client to server, right, all these developers are supposed to install a small software called SVN client. Everybody is supposed to install the software called SVN client. Okay. Like example, I would say you need to open a web page, right? So if you wanted to open a web page, how do you open, guys? You open a browser. Okay. This browser, you open it and you try to hit the server so that you can see the page. Same thing. So this browser is called a client for you. Okay. Similarly, to push your code to SVN server, right, you may need a small software. Okay. Example, guys, you might be using the Skype or this kind of Yahoo messengers. These are all the clients. Okay. Once the server is up, then only they can these clients can transmit some data to the server. Similarly, every developer needs to install a small software called SVN client. So your job is to help the developers to install the SVN client to communicate to the SVN server. Okay. So we'll come back to the client later. First, let's try to set up the SVN server. Okay. So to set up the SVN server, okay, we should understand how the SVN server works exactly. Okay. So SVN server. So this has two components. Okay. One is the SVN, okay, subversion, the core component, okay, subversion core. And next thing is you may need a web server to expose the SVN to the external world. Okay, so this is a SVN software. So this SVN software doesn't have a capability of exposing to the external world. Nothing but, see, I told you in the beginning of Linux session, if somebody is connected to the remote Linux machine, see, before accessing the SVN, they should contact the server first. Okay, so to contact the server first, there should be a port open, right? For everyone, there should be a port open for this process. Okay, but SVN doesn't support any kind of exploiting the its service to the external world. Okay, you can access SVN within the machine, you cannot access SVN server outside the machine. So to get this mesh service, okay, exposed to the external world, what we can do is we can make use of another software called a web server. Okay, and there is a web server called Apache Web Server, or Apache HTTP server, or web server. You can call it a web server, HTTPD or web server. Okay, so there is a server available called HTTP web server, and this server specialty is its default opens a connections to the external world. Okay, it easily opens a connection to the external world. Okay, and people can access this Apache server easily. And now what we need to do, the first step is, let me tell you one by one. The first step is install the SVN software. Okay, and second step is install the Apache software, and the third step is, now you need to establish a connection between your server and your Apache web server, SVN server and Apache web server, so that the client can establish a connection to your SVN. Okay, so this is the underground architecture. Now to perform all this stuff, we may need at least 1 hour to set up all these things and do the configuration. Okay, and let me tell you guys, when you join any of the company, they will not ask you to do all this stuff. Okay, somebody would have already done all these things. Okay, you just need to go there and do the monitoring work, like kind of a watchman work. Okay, so what exactly a watchman will do? He just keeps an eye on the system. Okay, and he helps the developers, but still you should know how exactly the entire thing is set up. Okay, but I don't want to waste the time on setting up this entire SVN manually, but there is a kind of a shortcut or a kind of a pre-built system. Okay, you can easily bring up the entire SVN server. Okay, so there is a software called Bitnami. SVN. So this company, what exactly these guys will do? I really like these guys uh, approach of giving the softwares. You go to the applications. Can you see this? These are all so many popular softwares. Okay, all these softwares are really difficult to set up on the Linux or Windows machines. Okay, really tough to set up these things. I mean, not tough. If you know the things and all, you can just follow the instructions and you can just set it up. Okay, so there's so many softwares are there. Okay, so what exactly this company is doing, Bitnami guys, these are giving a ready-made packages. It's something like, let me say one thing. We will have a food in a kind of a buffet system. You go to each and every each and every bay and you get each and every item onto your plate, right? Okay, and then you start it. So that's a kind of a normal installation. Now instead of that, somebody give a big pack like a pizza pack. You just take it and go back. Okay, so these kind of a ready-made packages. Okay, so you just download and install it. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. Everything is taken care of by the package. Okay, so this kind of I'm going to make use of this software to set up for our installation. Okay, but I would say in organizations, don't use this. Okay, so in organizations, you follow the conventional way, set up each and every individual component properly. Okay, and then bring up the server. You have plenty of time over there to do that. Okay, but most of the time you don't do it actually. Okay, that would already done by somebody, your ops guys and all. Okay, so subversion. Can you see this? It is there here. Okay, now I'm going to make use of this, and this guy is giving for all the operating systems. We need for the, what is it, Linux machine, right? Download the subversion installer. Yeah, this is what the installer. No thanks. Okay, it is 44 MB guys. Okay, I'll do one thing. Instead of downloading it here, I'll try to download on my Linux machine directly. Copy link address, go to the Linux machine. I'm going to give you one more good command, guys. There is a command called wget. Okay, and try to provide the URL of your website, whatever it is. Okay, enter. This will download the software for you. Can you see this in a Linux? It's downloading now 1%. So now I'll try to stop it in my Windows. It is not required for me in the Windows. Downloads, stop it, cancel. It's 12%. It's pretty quick actually, just 40 MB, right? It should be done in few seconds. Okay. And once you have this software, right, installing this is pretty easy. Like, you just go to the terminal, okay, your dollar prompt, and try to provide full permission to it. Okay, 7772 your Bitnami software, or you can say 755. Okay, make sure the user is having a full permission. I know to explain you what you mean by chmod. We just learned about chmod. Okay, and the Bitnami your file. Okay, right. Once that is done, / your Bitnami file. That's it. Your installation is done. Okay, so let it complete. We'll run this. Okay, I'll just run this file and stop the session, guys. Don't worry. So we're almost there. So tomorrow freshly we can start with the SVN practice. It should finish in few seconds. Guys, any questions still here? All of you? If you have anything, you can just ping me or you can raise your voice. I can help it out. Okay, before it is going on, guys, could you please check your email ID whether it is there or not in this group, so because all these people who are there in this group will be getting the alerts as well as the G access. Let me know if anyone is not there here. Okay, this seems to be completed. Chmod 755 Bitnami file. Okay. Yes, Srinivas, you're saying something.
Yeah, my email ID is not present over there, I think so.
Would you please ping it in the WhatsApp? I'll add it. Okay.
Yeah, sure, I will do that thing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'm just trying to run the Bitnami file /. Okay, and the file name. Enter. That's it. It's a ready-made package for you. Just like in a Windows machine, if you get MSI file, you double click next, right? So something like that. So just enter. Don't do anything else. Enter. Enter. Say yes. That's it. Now it's installing it. In few seconds it will complete it. But think about if you do it all those components individual installation, it's really takes time taking process. So once this installation is completed, you should be able to access your SVN server from a browser because it runs on a HTTP protocol. Okay, your IP address 192.168.33.10 and your server version runs on a port called 8080. You might be thinking, how do you know this port number? Guys, you look at the documentation of the Bitnami, you will be knowing it. Okay, so somebody they will mention somewhere over here. Okay, so where is it? So / subversion. Okay, just try to access this URL from your browser. That's it. I think your installation is done. That's the reason it is showing the page. Okay, so it's done actually. So can you see this subversion revision number 1? Okay, you should be able to access your repository through a browser. You might be thinking, what is this one? What is this readme? These are all we'll discuss in tomorrow's session. Okay, for today, that's it, guys. You set up your subversion and keep it ready for tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we'll see all the list of commands and how these client people, I mean the developers and all, how do they communicate with the SVN server, how do they pull the code, push the code. We'll see all of this. I'm getting some noise, Mahinder.